It's hard for me as a reporter because I don't want to put foils in a bad light, right? Freedom of information laws are wonderful things, but it is in fact a tactic of national and just hyper and fast-growing local organizations to use onerous public records requests. So what we'll see, what we saw in Maine, is asking for all of these records requests of, how much money did you spend on anything involving race, and then that is used to sort of frame again the school board as being as paying for CRT.
Interesting. Chris Hayes and low-level NBC reporters don't think parents should have any kind of say in what their kids are learning. In fact, it's a right-wing talking point that kids are being taught to hate one another based on the color of their skin in elementary school. Right. Well, my next guest tweeted about this clip, but he's not just talking about it, he's doing something about critical race theory. Welcome to my friend Ryan Girdusky, founder of the 1776 Project Pac and author of They're Not Listening: How the Elites Created the National Populist Revolution. Thanks for joining me, Ryan.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
Absolutely. Okay, Ryan, first of all, I want to hear about your PAC, why you founded it, and what exactly it's seeking to do in this combating of critical race theory in our schools.
So the 1776 Project Pac is the first nationwide super PAC that is solely for school board elections. And what my PAC intends to do is support candidates across the country who oppose critical race theory and the teaching of critical race theory in public schools who are running for school board, and we will support them. I think there's 10 major states that have elections this year that we hope to play in. And in the last 3 weeks since launching the PAC, we've raised over $130,000 from over 1,600 donors. So people are excited about it, and I'm hoping that it really makes a difference for this upcoming election cycle.
That's great, and it's even more exciting that a lot of that stuff is coming from small donors. That's really great. It's really funny that this is about, not funny, but it is a great thing that this is for school boards, because we see as conservatives a lot, conservatives are not running for school board elections and city council and all of that stuff, and that's where a lot of this stuff starts. So I wanted to ask you, so in your opinion, because I talked a little bit about critical race theory in terms of Juneteenth and all that other stuff earlier in the monologue, so what is the difference to you between critical race theory and just regular Black history that's being taught in school? So what's the fundamental difference between those two?
So kids should absolutely learn about things like America's history of slavery. They should learn about Martin Luther King Jr. They should learn about the Civil Rights Act and Jim Crow laws. It's part of American history, and there are good parts of Black history in American history, and there are bad parts, and they should all be taught. Kids should learn about history through how it was experienced, and the overarching narrative of American history should be that we are a great country and we weren't always making the best decisions, but in the end we've always strived to be better and better and better. Mm-hmm. Critical race theory tries to restructure education to reteach the relationship between race and power. They teach that Black Americans or non-white Americans as a whole undergo racism on a daily basis. And the structures and the institutions created in this country to make it great were created with the sole purpose of keeping non-whites down. And whites, whether they be wealthy or not wealthy, working class whites, all benefit either psychically or economically from racism. And they all have the and so just the only way to actually end racism is to sit there and to break down our institutions, from capitalism to our Constitution to our judiciary to the way we run courts in this country, our immigration laws. It's all solely about race, that any inequality or inequity in our society is solely because of race, and it is intended to make inequality happen.
That is the best explanation of the difference between critical race theory and teaching African American history that I have ever heard, by the way. So that was fantastic. And thank you so much for breaking that down, because a lot of people right now, and I talked about this early in the show, the left is sort of trying to conflate critical race theory and African American history. And I think people as conservative-leaning people, libertarians, people that are against critical race theory should be able to explain the difference between that and African American history at the drop of a dime, just like you did. So well done, sir.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me. Thanks.